Hello, hello. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm Ryan, also known as the Pessimist.
And I'm Carlos, the Optimist.
And this is Optimist versus Pessimist. OVP. I remembered it this time.
No mistakes.
No mistakes.
We're perfect. One take.
All the time.
Every time.
So today we'll be talking about pagan rituals that happened during the winter solstice before Christmas was a thing. Now...
Oh my god!
I thought that would be a very interesting topic. Did you not look it up? Did you not go to the library? Get your footnotes?
I'm terrified of pagan rituals.
I thought you were just going to say you were terrified of the library.
What's a library?
It's a book house.
Yeah.
No, but okay, so today will be a little bit shorter this time around. We're going to be talking about Mandalorian episode 5 or chapter? No, chapter 6. They all just
The Prisoner.
Yeah. Do you have anything else? Is there a subtitle?
No. Directed by Rick Famuyiwa again. Famuyiwa, actually.
Who's what? Who's that guy?
Dope and episode 2, The Child.
Dope. Is that a movie?
Dope is a movie, yes.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe like you were just saying he was dope.
Oh, I could have been.
You could have been. Okay, so then we're talking about episode 6 or chapter 6, and we're going to be talking about some Christmas movies today. So we're going to talk about The Christmas Story, A Christmas Story.
A Christmas Story.
And I'm going to talk about Klaus, which is one of the new Netflix original movies. So stick around or skip to that time. Whatever you want.
Just listen.
Or just as long as your ears
just
are listening to this. Yeah, listen to the sounds of our soothing, annoying voices. Please.
We are begging, literally.
Pretty much. All right, so let's get right into Mando episode 6.
Yes.
So, I'm kind of done with the Mandalorian at this point. You know what I mean?
Really done though?
I'm kind of done with it
because it wasn't bad. It was meh.
It's meh, but like that's not what I was promised here. I was kind of promised some kind of Game of Thrones level of storytelling.
I think they shot themselves in the foot by going with that.
Yeah, like...
I guess it was also like the fan expectation a little bit, but they didn't really shy away from the comparisons.
No, they didn't. They really didn't.
They wanted to launch big.
They did, and it's slowly falling apart. Like, okay, this episode might be better than the last 2 episodes, but like it's still filler, and this is driving me crazy. Is it... Okay, whose fault is it at this point? Is it the storyteller's fault for... having the first 3 episodes be interlinked? Or is it my fault for expecting the rest of the series to follow suit? Whose fault is it in this circumstance?
I don't know. It's hard to say, man. Because also we don't know if it is 100% filler until the last episode. Because you know that Dave Filoni likes to do that thing where episodes seem like filler, but then he'll call back to them. So we don't know. These last 2 episodes, especially the last episode, might bring back a lot of these characters and might bring back a lot of these references that kind of make it not filler anymore.
Okay.
But as we stand right now, I would say it's the showrunner's fault.
Yeah.
It would be Jon Favreau because he's the one writing the story, right? He's the one who's got the overall picture of every episode where it goes.
Yeah.
But it's not fair to say until we have the whole first season to see which ones were filler and which ones aren't. What is fair to say is that the quality has not gone up. It's stayed
diminished.
The same or diminished.
I think once episode 3 finished, because that was for me the one that got iffy. It's been slowly declining. This one was I wouldn't even say it's a step up. It's a filler that I didn't mind as much. Mm-hmm. It's a story that I've seen 1,000 times, but I didn't mind as much, which is a different thing than it actually being good.
Right. Okay. So just a quick run through and recap. So Mandalorian is on the run. He goes to this weird middle of nowhere space station where I guess he's got some history with these people.
With the guy specifically.
With the guy specifically. He's looking for work.
Yes.
That's what we're doing.
He needs money.
I like the space station thing. I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
Different for Star Wars.
Also, not a cantina. So I'm incredibly happy about that. So we're doing good.
There's other places where characters can meet.
Exactly. So
also, this is more of the premise that we were kind of promised, right? Bounty hunters and doing jobs and exploring the underbelly of the galaxy. So that was kind of cool.
It was nice to see that aspect of it. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're introduced to these characters that he's going to do this job with.
Yes. Basically, yeah, he can't do any kind of bounty jobs or because
he's against the guild now.
So then he has to go for these underground jobs with these kind of more scummy people.
Right.
And he has a history with this guy, so he kind of is like, I need a 4th guy or 5th guy.
Okay. So a lot of standouts in this little crew. So right away we have Twi'lek, which this is this is the first time we've seen Twi'leks not be in some kind of weird, like, sexualized role.
No,
Except she is still sexualized.
Yeah. It's like, so is that like, is this what they want to? Is this what the Star Wars people want to say? Is that all of them are inherently sexual? All the female ones are inherently sexual in some capacity? Because like, sure, she's not a dancer or a hooker this time,
Right?
But she's still like very flirtatious and
Right.
very.
So in the supplementary materials, we have gotten a lot of Twi'leks that aren't.
Well,
but they do make a point of saying that Twi'leks are kind of like the sex slaves of the galaxy.
It's weird. Hera though. Hera's a good example.
Mm-hmm.
It's the only one I can think of.
Cham Syndulla as well. Lords of the Sith and some Clone Wars episodes and some Rebels episodes.
Yeah, so it's kind of weird. Like, but like most of the time, if they ever mention a Twi'lek, it's because it's a sex thing.
I really didn't like that. I felt it was so unnecessary to sexualize her character the way, and even her brother later on. Like, he's weirdly sexual too. Like, he's wearing like a tight white shirt, and he's like. Kind of like he moves very sultry and he's like, I don't know, I just got a huge sexual vibe from him too, and I was
maybe
like,
it's
I
just
thought
saying
he was supposed
something
to be
about
like a badass. Like
maybe that's just saying something about yourself. Maybe there's something that's awakening inside of you. That's not the Force.
Here we go.
So okay,
the next standout is Clancy Brown as this weird devil alien.
I love Clancy Brown a lot. He always does these kind of bit roles. I very much like him in all those bit roles. This one's fine, I guess, but okay. So I guess we'll finish introducing the people, and then we have Bill Burr.
Bill Burr.
For some reason,
even though he hates Star Wars.
He was in like a lot of these for some reason he's in like a lot of comedy movies where he'll just be like a character that's in it for a second and then leave. I never understood that. So now he's like more of a focal point and focal role in this point. Mm-hmm. He's the leader of this group. Now, I hated this group just because like they're the. Like, if you ever think of, like, okay, this person has to go work with these 4 or 3 other shady individuals, what do you have? Oh, you have the big, dumb, tough guy. You have the kind of more sassy woman. You have, like, the leader who was a bit...
It was generic.
It was 100% generic, and that bothered me immediately. I knew as soon as I introduced Bill Burr, like, he's going to betray him later in this episode. This is going to... Yeah, so then it was right, 100% right. And everything that happened... It's something I've already seen before. So, like...
What did you think of the actual performances, specifically of Bill Burr?
He's so weird to be in Star Wars for me. Like, it's such an... Like, I don't know if his... Like, I like Bill Burr. I think comedic-wise, I think he's quite funny. But in terms of acting, I don't know. This time, it didn't feel like the writing was really bad for him. It just kind of felt out of place. Like, this isn't the right thing to be in with Bill Burr. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It could just be that the actor himself is distracting.
Mm-hmm.
So, but
it's more like of a stunt casting, which is weird for Star Wars. Like, it's weird to have such a big name that's such a recognizable face.
Yeah, maybe.
Kind of takes you out of the universe a little bit.
That's probably what happened then. Because, like, yeah, so then we introduce the characters. They have to go break into a New Republic
prison.
Which, no people? Really? Or, like, one person?
Droids all day.
Really? I didn't think that they would operate that way. That seems a bit odd. Why have people in the...
I guess they had that one guy.
Okay, we'll get to him, because I had so much problems with that guy. Like, I've lost my mind. I had to pause it, because I got so angry. Okay, so then, basically, they need him for the ship. The robot needs to drive it, because he can make the weird blind spots.
I kind of liked that, actually. Like, there's one thing about this episode. I like all the little things that we learn. Like, for example, the Razor Crest is, like, an old Clone Wars ship, so it's like not on any kind of like lists.
That makes sense.
It's it's an infiltration ship, so it actually has a lot of like it can make them go like blind and like off of sensors, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
I really liked Zero actually. I like his robot design and I like how they use that character.
Okay, I mean I didn't like his 20-minute chasing Baby Yoda in the ship thing that he did.
Fair. I didn't like that much either.
Pretty dumb. But like out
of the whole crew, I think he's the one that stood out to me as like I actually kind of like this character.
Okay, all right, that's fair. But like we've already had sassy droids.
Yes.
There's nothing new with
No. Star Wars has tons of sassy droids.
Yeah. So there's a couple references that I didn't like really like at all. Like the Bill Burr makes a reference like, "Are you a Gungan?" underneath that. I'm like, really? Just because like. I don't know, it just felt so out of place and like something like a fan would write that or something like that. And then there's the one where he's like, this is hotter than a Canto Bite, whatever. I'm like, oh, like really? We have to reference that stupid Casino Planet?
Canto Bite. Like,
just...
They're really trying to salvage that whole thing.
They shouldn't.
It's not cool. It's not going to be cool if Bill Burr says it. It's awful. Stop bringing attention to it. Nobody, even the people that love Last Jedi hate Canto Bite.
Yeah. Really? Even people who like it? Oh.
Yeah, even the people who defend the movie,
They don't defend Canto
they
Bight?
don't defend it. In
They
fact, they openly, like, that's the one thing fans have agreed about.
Oh.
Like, 100% agreed about. No one is fighting about Canto Bight. Everyone hates it.
Yeah. Okay. So then they obviously there's tension because the Mandalorian's not with these people, and like there's like a distance between them because he's a good guy apparently. I never got that.
I guess he is a good guy.
Is this the episode where we learn he's
I
a
think
good
so,
guy?
because he didn't kill them.
He didn't kill them.
He made the point of leaving them alive.
Yeah, so then the whole point is that they have to get this prisoner. I thought maybe we were building up to something like, oh, is this going to be a character that we've seen before? But then it just
would have been a good opportunity, actually, now that you say that.
Yeah, well, because I kind of felt there was some kind of building up going on there. But then it ends up just being the Twi'lek's brother, and then they throw him into the jail. Okay, before that, though, we also have that dumb scene. You know, whenever someone new joins a crew or something like that, we have they find out there's actually one person on the ship, right?
Right.
And first thing, before I get into the point here, he's wearing the same helmet they wore in A New Hope. And that drove me crazy, because after, 20, 30 years, we don't, or like, maybe I'm, 7, 10 years or something like that. We haven't changed that at all? That's still mandated? Like,
yeah. Also, it was like supposed to be when they were like the Rebel Alliance and they didn't have a lot of like funds or money.
This
so
is 6
it's supposed to
years.
be like a makeshift outfit. But then now that you're the new government, you think you don't have armor for these guys? Like they don't. They don't get anything?
It's like I guess maybe the government's all backed up. Like, sorry, armor's not priority. You gotta just wear these dumb shovel helmets.
Also, one guy for an entire prison ship
it was
thing,
all,
whatever
it was
it's supposed
all
to be.
dumb. So then we have that whole stereotypical scene where it's like, oh, the Mandalorian or our main character doesn't want to kill anybody, and then someone ends up killing him, and then they're causing more strife between them and our main character. It's like I saw that scene, like I'm so tired of this. I'm so tired. Give me something original. Give me something interesting. Also, very inconsistent because, as we said, there's only robots on here. And they have these attack droids, and then the Mandalorian has to show off, obviously, because everyone's been questioning him and whether or not he's actually a good fighter. So he shows off, and then like, what confuses me about that is because like, it seemed in that scene that Bill Burr and the rest of the crew were having trouble taking down these robot gunners, right?
Yes.
And then like, there's one scene where Bill Burr's like walking past a hallway, and he just takes out
three of them.
Yeah,
no problem.
It's like that's so inconsistent. Also, that was a pretty good Mandalorian fight. That's kind of what I wanted to see between him and the robots.
I was gonna ask you, did you like that action sequence? Because I think it's the best they've had so far.
I think so too, because like you have all the it felt more real, as much as Star Wars can feel real.
Yes.
It felt more real and like improvised, where like he had to use different techniques and different things that were on his arsenal to kind of compensate with all the robots and stuff like that. And I think it worked out very well in that specific scene.
Me too. I think it's the first time also that they've shown him to be competent fully without any kind of like backtracking. And also, it's a very nice contrast to your point of him always needing to be saved.
Yeah.
It was nice to see him actually being the one that's like, kind of saving this crew with his abilities.
And again, like that's how you show an action scene. You don't have to have someone save him last minute. You can have him struggling throughout the fight, because he did struggle. He did struggle, and that's all you need. That's all I need to see for me to believe this.
Right, but we're 6 episodes in.
Exactly. So then, yeah, the rest of the episode kind of just plays out as much as you think. They find the guy, they put him into the jail cell. I thought it was very clever on how he got out of the jail cell. I thought that was actually kind of clever.
Yes, I actually this is why I really liked this episode a lot more, I think, because what they did with the episode is what I wanted to be seeing from the series already since the beginning. Like, he's smart. He basically takes over the jail. He basically traps them in this labyrinth, and you can see that he's in control, and he's closing the doors, and like, I love all of that. I wish they would have done more of it up to this point.
Yeah, it was. Yes, that was probably one of the bigger highlights, other than the awesome action scene between him and the robots.
I think the only nitpick I have for that whole thing is that we set up a timer, a 20-minute timer.
Oh yeah.
And then it just feels like there's a lot happening in that 20 minutes. Like.
Yeah. Okay. So then, I guess the reason, because like people might be confused on why they betrayed him. It's because like there's a beef between him and the Twi'lek brother.
Yes.
Because
this history, he left them behind apparently.
He left them behind or something like that. So then that's that, and basically the rest of the episode kind of plays out with him taking out each one individually.
Yes.
And Bill Burr was like no battle. Like I thought that was very
weird.
very weird. That's
Because
like
he's supposed to be like kind of the main character of this.
Exactly. So it's like, oh, it's just like a quick, I knocked him out and that's it, and then we move on. It's supposed to imply, like the whole thing implies that he's killing these people.
Yes.
But then he doesn't. It's revealed at the end he didn't kill them. So that's neat. I don't know. I never got that more moral compass with him as much.
Not until now.
No,
this is the most obvious it's ever been.
I guess
before now it's been kind of like
the Baby Yoda, I guess, but still, I don't know. It's interesting.
The last thing I really liked is he uses the tracker. That tracker, he basically sets up the space station.
Yeah.
At the end there, I really liked it because we actually get to see like New Republic X-wings come in and like there's like police now.
Okay, but I have a problem with that. One, this is my first problem with that.
Right.
One, why did the Mandalorian think that the guy was going to kill him because he killed the crew? Because I thought like the whole idea is like don't ask questions. I thought there was an understanding between them. Like maybe the beef was just the crew with him and not really necessarily the guy running the facility. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's true. And also like you almost didn't need to take this out. Like, because what if you need to come back for more jobs or...
Yeah, I
don't... This is something you could come back to in the future. But I guess they were planning to double-cross him too, so... I guess. Works out.
But then why?
Why?
Why were they going to double-cross him?
I don't know. It's weird.
It's because it's the underground. And because...
It's so weird because he actually did the job. Like, he got the guy out. You think they'd want to keep him around in case they need him again.
Yeah, he did the thing. And then, too, another thing that bothered me is that the X-Wings just destroy it. They don't really have like a they don't enter to ask questions or anything.
They don't investigate. Like this is like the
oh, we found the tracker. Oh, there's a ship coming out. Just destroy
I guess
the entire
they're not
thing.
cops though, hey, because they don't really do due diligence or due process. They just kind of destroyed it.
No, they weren't like this is confusing that this is coming from this area at all.
Even though it was coming from the jail before.
Yeah, this is very odd. No, they're like there's something happening there. Let's just destroy it.
I'm sure those are bad guys. Like.
The New Republic, ladies and gentlemen, do not care. Do not do due diligence. It's a good thing that they got destroyed.
No, it's really painting them like an awful government. To be honest,
it is.
It's making the point of saying that they are awful,
which makes me so sad.
Me too. It hurts my soul, bro.
Because it's like is this what Luke almost died for? Trying
Leia
to
almost died for.
Exactly.
Almost died for.
Exactly. And it's like
that's one thing about the expanded universe is that you really do get to see them building the government. You get to see their struggles building the government, but also you get to see them being effective at being a government, and you get that satisfaction of them actually like bringing worlds together, actually protecting the worlds, actually getting people to work together. There's a lot of diplomacy. Like I'm missing all of that. It makes it not matter. It makes the sacrifice at the end of Return of the Jedi not mean anything.
Which they seem to love. They want to just kind of destroy any kind of thing that the original trilogy was trying to do. But we are getting off topic here. It's just because Star Wars just gets us going. It gets us
does.
So angry, this new canon.
Okay, so to wrap it up, are we doing out of 10 for episodes? No, right?
I don't care anymore. No. But at this point, I want to save any kind of like number for the end of the season. So I can look at it. So maybe I'll watch the whole season again, gain a different perspective, and see if it really like. At this point, the show, to me, is still continuing to... Like, even though this episode was a little better than last episode, the fact that it's still filler, the fact that we're still doing these one-off episodes, and the fact that, like, it's not a good a quality as, like, the first two episodes still, like, it's really losing me. And that's why I said at the beginning of this, like, I'm almost out of here. Like, I almost don't want to watch it anymore.
Even if these last two episodes are great, that's not going to make a great season one.
No, it's
going to make a very mixed, unbalanced season one.
Yeah.
Christmas movies now.
Christmas movies. Something happy, because Christmas is a good time of year, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Except for all the music. Oh, there's
awful.
So much music.
And the commercialism. Different
podcast. Maybe closer to Christmas we'll talk about that kind of stuff. But anyway, we're talking about Christmas movies. Now, Carlos, you recently watched A Christmas Story.
I did.
But which Christmas story did you watch, though?
1983, I think it is.
So you watched A Christmas Story that's set in 1983, is what you're telling me.
Filmed in 83, set in the late 30s, early 40s.
I don't think he's getting the bit here. Because you watched A Christmas Story.
Yes.
A specific one.
Yes.
Which one?
No, I'm not getting this bit.
You're not getting it at all?
No.
It's because, like, I just yeah, I can tell that. So, okay, you watched a movie called A Christmas Story. Tell me why I should love this thing. Tell me why.
Okay, well, listen.
I'm listening.
As far as these kind of Hallmark kind of Christmas movies go,
yeah,
they're very generic.
Sure.
There's a lot of them. They're they're very much the same, and
You're not really doing a good job here.
I think this movie sets itself apart because when you actually dig into it, when you actually try to notice the details of what they were going for, there's a lot of really impressive stuff.
Okay.
For example,
yes,
I noticed that a lot of it is shot at eye level of the child character, which is kind of something they kind of stole from E.T. a little bit. I feel like, or
kind of stolen.
Not stealing, but I mean they took inspiration reminiscent of E.T., which is cool because this is a child's story from the child's perspective.
But wait, isn't E.T. like 1990? Isn't it? Because this is 83.
No, E3 is in the 80s.
E.T. is in the 80s?
Yep.
I'm gonna look that up while you're telling me this.
Yeah, absolutely. So, the other things that I noticed is that even though this is from the child's perspective, there's still a lot of character depth in terms of the characters that are around him.
Okay.
Like, I think his parents are way more three-dimensional characters than we would get in a classic Christmas movie.
Oh, sure.
And also, you get that distinction between this is how this child character sees the adults and the people and situations around him.
Yeah, you have all those.
He doesn't really understand fully the complexities of being an adult and life. But at the same time, we do, as the audience, we get to see that side of the parents, especially.
Okay.
One scene that really points this out to me is the dinner scene where the mom is trying to get the brother to eat.
Yes.
And he's not eating. Now, you can tell that she's this caretaker, and that's kind of her role.
Yeah.
You can see that she's satisfied in her role. She's maybe even a little bit proud of what she's able to do, that she's able to connect with her child, and she's the only one that can make him eat.
Yeah.
But we do see also that she's tired, and that this is hard, and that this is taking a lot out of her. I really appreciated being able to see a three-dimensional character, even though she's not really the focus.
Yeah.
I feel the same way with the dad. The whole time he's played as this kind of goof character.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you see that he has these little pride moments of the little things that he can do, like fix the radiator and change the tire. He gets really proud of that. And, he would be. And also, even the brother, to a point, I appreciate that all his little quirks, instead of being punished or ignored, they're worked around. Like, the family cares enough about him to work around them instead of, flat out, trying to get rid of it or punishing him and things like that. It made it feel really nuanced in that way.
Okay. Interesting. Very interesting take. Now, for me, I had not seen the movie in an incredibly long time, and I had only vague memories of it in general, so I decided before the podcast, didn't get a chance to finish it, but I did watch a good amount of it, about 90%, let's say, give or take, of it to kind of get the gist of the movie, and I didn't like it at all. And I'm going to try to explain to you why I don't like it. So then this is an actual optimist versus pessimist moment. Finally,
we're doing it.
Finally, we're both on the opposite side here. Now, this is the main thing that bothered me, is that to me, the movie is devious. It's devious in the sense that I think it rests on its laurels. The movie works on double nostalgia to me. This is kind of what I was watching with. This is what I felt. It works in the sense of okay, it's set in the 1940s, right?
Yes.
So, I think the people who like it, really, one of the sets of people who like it, they like it because it reminds them of their childhood. So they are oh, I remember my dad always had to fight with the radiator or fight with the thing. I remember my mother was oh, there's people in China that would be grateful. People have those memories, and that it kind of tricks them into liking the movie because it's oh, this is kind of reminds me of my childhood. And then the other nostalgia is people who watched it as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And that's those are the two reasons why I think this movie is so highly praised. Because I watched it and I felt nothing. There was no happiness. There was not even resentment. I was blank-faced almost the entire time. I might have laughed once during one of the weird hallucinations that he has. He should really see a doctor. That's not really healthy. But you know what I mean? I think the movie kind of works in that sense. And it's really hard for... this kind of puts you in a bad position because I'm assuming you watched this as a kid. So you have it's harder for you to kind of distance yourself from the nostalgia when trying to defend it, I think.
It's interesting, actually. I didn't watch it as a kid.
Really?
I watched this movie as an adult. You know, it's one of those Christmas classics that around the holidays, there's at least 2 channels that always play it like on 24-hour loops.
Yeah.
And I just never got around, you know, I haven't actually gotten around to a lot of classic Christmas movies. I've seen It's a Wonderful Life, I really like. My dad showed me that as a kid, but I don't know why. It's weird. Like, I guess we're just doing other things around the holidays. We don't really
have the time to kind of sit
have
down.
the time to sit down and watch these movies. And I think that's actually one of the things that made me like it a lot, is because I was going into it like, oh, this is one of those Christmas classics. Everybody loves it. I'm sure I'm going to find all these flaws in it. And I didn't. I just really I walked away from it really feeling satisfied. But then again, I have experienced that kind of thing, even in my own time, you know, really wanting a specific present, working up to it, trying to do good in school to get it. Because that's a deal my parents had with me for a lot of the time. Like, if you do well in school, we'll get you the present that you want. And you have to work for it. So, and also, as a kid, I also had a big imagination. I would fantasize like that too. I would role play. I would pretend to be a superhero or a cowboy or a savior of some kind. Okay. So I relate to a lot of the things that he goes through. I think it's very true to life in terms of what I've experienced.
So it is nostalgia then, in some
absolutely.
Why you like it?
I completely agree with your points, actually. I think that you're 100% on the ball. No. I just don't think that that's a negative. I can see how you see it as a negative.
Well, I see it
but
as
I think it can be a positive as well.
But if I don't have that relation there, so then I can't enjoy the movie. And also, I think another issue with the movie is that it's just so highly regarded. It's considered, like, almost without doubt that it's the best Christmas movie ever made, and I just don't get it. I don't see the things in a Christmas movie that would make me feel that way. Again, I didn't get to finish it. Maybe the conclusion is so satisfying, but I don't think it is. I
don't think so. I think you know how you feel about the movie.
Yeah, like, there's maybe a couple, like, in terms of, like, the actual story, there isn't much negative other than it kind of has, like, a very loose framing device, and I didn't like that as much. I felt it was too wishy-washy, where it's just like, it's just a couple months of his life, and he wants this toy, and
he doesn't necessarily learn a lesson either.
No, there's no arc. I don't see an arc really.
I think that, like, the reason why I take that as a positive is because all of these movies usually do have that. They have these kind of generic arcs where the character has to come to some kind of realization, like Christmas isn't about presents or Christmas is about family. This movie doesn't really do that. It literally is just like a microcosm, a time of somebody's life, and a very concentrated story where, you know, he really wanted this one particular gift and he gets it. And, you know, we see what happens, but there's not really a moral to that. There are some moments where there's some kind of life lesson stuff, but it's very quick and not focused on. Like, one of the things I really appreciated was the scene in the bathroom where he uses his decoder thing to and he's really excited to figure out what the secret message is, and it's just marketing.
Like drink or vine or something like that.
Ovaltine.
Ovaltine, yeah.
I love that kind of stuff because that is true to life. You know, when you're a kid, you kind of get suckered into a lot of promotional stuff, and you don't really know the kind of evil and wickedness behind marketing and the fact that everything's just trying to, you know, make a buck.
Yeah, that scene kind of bothered me a little bit. Like, this is a nitpick, obviously, but like, Just decode it somewhere else. You don't have to be in the bathroom to decode the rest of this. Just leave, decode it somewhere else, so you wouldn't have this huge tension, everyone getting mad at you for no reason. Like, okay, so that's what I'm saying. This movie, like, it wants you to recall your childhood, and like if it doesn't, but to me it doesn't evoke that as much. It's like, oh yeah, I remember doing that. But that's the best it's gonna get from me. You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
So like it didn't work on me.
Different strokes for different folks, my friend.
I guess, but like usually, even if I don't like a movie, for instance, I understand why it's popular.
You really don't see the merits of this movie?
I kind of do. Like, it starts off very Christmassy. Like, there's tons of Christmas music. I felt the narration was a bit too much in general. Like, and like, it was funny at times, but like almost like every scene we have to have more narration. And I guess that it was a different time back then, where like the narration was used a lot. But I don't know. I found it kind of distracting. There's a couple of things I didn't like in it. Like, I was kind of confused on why? So like the wife becomes so petty about this lamp that like, I didn't like that scene where she like destroys it because I'm like, this is so petty. He won this. He was incredibly proud of this, and just because you didn't like it, you just decided to destroy it. Like, that's not a nice thing to do to somebody that you love.
It's not, but it's also kind of true to life. Where if you're a homemaker, and I'm assuming that she's the one that's kind of responsible for and in charge of the decorating of the house, what kind of goes up.
Yeah,
that's kind of her domain as that home taker.
You can't let him have one thing.
I guess not.
Like that kind of that's.
I mean, it is pretty. Like it's a pretty ugly lamp.
Sure, but he won that, and he was so proud of it. Why wouldn't you try to share in his pride about something, even though you might have not liked it?
You're right. I agree with you, but I think that's really true to life.
You're probably right. That probably does happen with a lot of people. Another thing that kind of bothered me. This might be me, but like. The teacher gave him a C+, and it seemed to me that it was implied just because of the toy he chose to want, and that seems very weird way to grade somebody on anything. It's like if I wanted like a chemistry set, and my teacher's like, "No, that's not a good idea. You're gonna burn your eye out, kid." Like that's not like I think he should have talked to the principal. He should have brought her up for like grading malfeasance. I can't even say
malfeasance.
Malfeasance, yes. And then, like, have her fired and deported from the country.
Listen, again, I think this is really sad, but I think that's absolutely true to life as well. Teachers are just people. Teachers are just people. They have biases. They have favorite students. If they're not feeling good that day, they might grade you worse than they would.
But
honestly.
it would have been fine if it was more of the grammar that was the issue, but it didn't seem to be because there was no comments on it other than "You'll shoot your eye out, kid," which is the slogan of the freaking movie. And it's so like I didn't like that. It's like it's almost like. You entrapped the kid because it's like, just tell me what you want for Christmas and then whatever. And then it's like, oh, you got graded badly because you chose what you wanted for Christmas. How dare you? It's like, that's not how that should be worked. That should be more of a grammar sense, more of a, did he portray what he wanted clearly and what did it make sense? That kind of thing.
I agree with you, but at the same time, you're talking to somebody that got kept in class for answering questions wrong. So
I remember that.
I definitely understand
that was
teachers having biases.
That was great. I love that. That was French, right?
What else you got?
What else do I have negative? Like, again, I don't have very much negatives. Other like the whole negative thing was like I get it. It's a free flowing story with this very loose framing, and it just wasn't engaging to me. I didn't find the characters to be as like everyone was just a regular person to me. Like there's no arcs. No one has an arc. It's just me watching a bunch of regular people live for a couple months and seeing a little bit of their antics. I didn't think it was funny at all. I think I laughed maybe once, and that was during what, like I said, his hallucination scenes. I can't remember which one. I think it was the one where he went blind. And then
you didn't even laugh at the dogs?
The dogs that are just kind of irritating him, that are always in his way? No. Why? That wasn't. I don't know. The movie's comedy didn't work for some reason. It didn't.
That's fair.
Because you could say, oh, it was the time, but Christmas Vacation. I think Christmas Vacation is quite funny.
It is.
So it is. So then I don't understand why I didn't.
Also, this is the director of Porky's. I don't know if you knew.
I didn't ever seen Porky's, so I no preference, I guess. Sorry. So
okay. So anyway, out of 10, what are you giving this movie?
This is really tough, cause it did not appeal to me at all. So I'm thinking a 6.5. And that's that's gonna be probably blasphemous for a lot of people because a lot of people love this movie, but it just if it doesn't work on you, there's not much to get out of it. You know what I mean?
That's what I think, man. I think that anyone listening to this, your points and your takes are completely valid because it's just how it hits you.
Yeah.
It's just how it hits you, and that does change the score of something. That's the thing about movies and media in general, that your personal feelings and history affect how you see something, how you take something in. So for me, this movie's a solid 8 out of 10.
Wow.
Yeah, classic. I love it. I'll watch it every single Christmas.
I will not. I will never watch it again. I will delete it from my laptop and then never think about it again.
All right, my friend. But you also watched another holiday movie.
I did. This is actually a very recent one. This came out this year.
I did not watch this, by the way, so we're going to do this interview style.
Fun. Let's do it. So I watched a movie called Klaus. Now, the general premise of Klaus is this postmaster general's son who's kind of lives in luxury and stuff like that. He doesn't have he gets all of his needs attended to. He the father wants to teach him a lesson because he's such a freeloader. So like he sends him to a place. I think it's like Spielsberg or Smeelsberg, which is like all the way north. Okay, by the way, this isn't set in our country, like in our world, kind of.
Right. Okay.
Like there's different names for different things. So he gets sent to the small island in the north
To Steven Spielberg, yes.
to see Steven Spielberg to tell him to stop directing bad movies like the big.
Stop making movies.
Yeah,
man.
maybe just stop.
To retire, please.
Yeah,
You're hurting your own legacy.
Which is weird because like Martin Scorsese's still doing it good. So I guess I don't know. Anyway,
so this guy gets sent to this thing.
He gets sent to this thing, and he has like a task. He has to send 6,000 letters within a year.
Oh my god!
Yeah, he has to deliver 6,000 letters, or he will be cut off entirely from his family and their wealth. So, obviously, he's very much okay. The first 20 minutes is kind of hard because like he's very much. Do you remember a movie called Emperor's New Groove?
Oh, I love Emperor's New Groove.
A lot of people do. I rewatched it recently, and I didn't realize how annoying Cusco was for almost even all this.
He's
like,
grating.
He is, and like even when he has his character change, he's still grating. Like
He's still very annoying.
Like he takes so long to have the character change, and then it's still annoying. And that's what this character felt like for the first 20 minutes. He was incredibly annoying on how like privileged and how whatever.
Who is the lead here? Sorry.
He's a Coppola. Actually, surprisingly, like the one thing who doesn't have the Coppola's name. I'm gonna look it up really quickly. Because I was surprised at how good he was.
It's not Nick Cage, right?
No. It's Jason Schwartzman, if you remember that gentleman in the middle there.
Oh, I do actually. Weird.
Yeah, it is very weird because like I didn't see like even when he speaks, I didn't see him when he spoke, which I guess is a good thing. You're not supposed to see the actor. So yeah, that's the whole kind of general theme, the general basic story. Now the idea is it's kind of like a deconstruction of Christmas movies in a sense that like in this world the idea of Santa is like a marketing thing because he wants to sell these letters, right? And he so happens to come across a huntsman who has like this giant weird beard, the white beard, and he's big, and he made toys. He has all these toys.
So basically he's Santa.
Basically, yeah, but like this is
or rather Saint Nicholas.
Sure.
Going back to that.
His name's Klaus in this because like it's like Santa Claus, Klaus. So like it introduces all these ideas which we associate to Santa Claus. So like what happens is like he tries. Okay, sorry, I kind of got ahead of myself here. So he goes to this main town in the island, right?
Yes.
And basically the idea is like there's a warring side, like both sides of the village hate the other one's guts, and so they're always constantly fighting each other and doing like little petty things to the other people, like throwing like fish lard onto like their like clean drapes and stuff like that. Like that kind of stuff is going on, and like so like no one's interested in sending any letters. So like there's a reason that like they laughed at him as soon as he showed up because they're like no one's gonna send any letters. So like it begins as a marketing scheme because he coincidentally, because he's trying to go to all these places to try to get somebody to send a letter, he goes to the huntsman. He sees all the toys. The huntsman kind of spooks him. It's actually very convoluted. This is one part that kind of bothers me a bit. It's convoluted because what happened earlier, a kid dropped his picture of himself, kind of unhappy. He drew a picture of himself unhappy in his house, and he wanted to trick the kid into mailing it to himself, so that he'd be able to deliver a letter and count that as one of the things.
Oh.
But then he got scared off by his dad. And then, so he kept the letter with him accidentally, and then he comes across the huntsman. The huntsman sees the kid's picture, and it's like, oh, this kid's really upset, so like I'm gonna give him one of my toys. So then he goes to the postman. The postman brings him to the place, and then he gives him the toy. And then like it's such a convoluted way to
get. But the kid is the catalyst, essentially.
He's the catalyst to the whole thing. And then like after that, it becomes more of a marketing scheme. So obviously, this is like one of those movies where the character who starts off annoying becomes a nice guy at the end, even though his path there is based off of his own kind of he's trying to get out of this place. So
so this movie actually has an arc.
Yeah, he has an actual oh, burn, sorry. So like this one works better for the Emperor's New Groove because like you feel the arc in this sense, whereas in Emperor's New Groove it's like, oh, he just didn't make he's still a horrible person, he just didn't make the swimming pool ruin that guy's village, you know what I mean? So
right.
then
I gotta watch that movie again.
Yeah, it's still really funny actually in First New Groove. Like story wise, it may not be the best, but animation wise and comedy wise, it works. So yeah, Klaus is basically a deconstruction of all we associate with Santa.
Okay, so I will ask you. My first question is, as a deconstruction, because
Yeah.
I'm sure you've seen a lot. You know,
Yeah.
how does it fare? Is it a good deconstruction? Is it
Yes, it felt very refreshing in this kind of day and age where we know what we associate with Santa Claus. It was interesting to be like, okay, it's interesting to have the perspective of like, oh, this wasn't like this was accidental. Like this was because this guy wanted to make letters. He's like, oh, you got to be, yeah, you got to write these letters in order to get these gifts. And so like he convinces all the kids, and then like he inadvertently changes the way the town works because of this, because he's trying to get out of there. He's it's only for his own greed. So like I really like the deconstruction of like, oh, what happened is like, oh, when they're trying to for example, one of the things that happens is like the characters they're trying to bring like a bunch of toys, right? And like the one horse that they have is not working, so they happen upon some wild reindeer. So then you have like that thing adding to the mythos. You have the whole the postman doesn't like one of these kids because he threw like a snowball at him, so he put a coal in his stocking instead. And then he comes up with the idea is like you have to be a good in order to get gifts. So it's like all like a marketing thing. It's very interesting.
excellent?
Yeah.
What about performances? Any standout performances? Any standout characters or actors?
I liked like the main character. I like again like the first 20 minutes is a bit grating, but after that I really like his arc. I think it works very well. J.K. Simmons is the actual voice of Klaus. I wish
Love J.K.
I do too. He's more subtle in this though, because like the huntsman is kind of sad. Because the idea is like they revealed later. Because I guess I'm going to spoil this for you.
Full spoilers.
Full spoilers.
Everything we talk about forever.
Yes. Now remember that for every single video. Basically, what happens is like the reason he has all these toys is because like he and his wife wanted to have all these kids, and they ended up not having the kids, and she ended up dying from a sickness.
Dark and sad.
It is really dark and sad. Like the movie nails emotional timing very well. Like it got to me a lot of times. Like because like I told you, he makes up the idea of like, oh, you have to be good when you write a letter to be to get a present from Klaus.
Yes.
And so like the kids start like changing how the adults react with each other because you know they're all rivalries because the kids start helping the other side in order to get gifts. And then the adults follow after them, and then they start being nicer and nicer to each other. And it felt so warm. Like this is what it felt more like. Again, like the other watching Christmas Story, I didn't feel any kind of warmth during it. Where this one, I felt like this, like, oh, this is really nice feeling. This feels like Christmas. Like everyone's getting along together. Everyone's liking each other. So like, yeah, I really enjoyed the deconstruction a lot.
Excellent.
And I think performance wise, everyone nails it. I think everyone is really good. J.K. Simmons, maybe a little bit more would have been nice with him, but again, I understood the character he was playing wasn't that kind of role. So.
What about pacing? What's the runtime here? How does it feel? Does it feel its length?
It's short, which is nice. Short and to the point. I think it's about an hour and a half, like a lot of them.
Love it.
It's great. It's great. The other thing I forgot to mention about the thing is that it has great musical moments and silent moments where like they're like because I told you at the beginning we're like the kid catalyst, right?
Yes.
Like we have a great moment where like Klaus is kind of outside his like it sounds creepy when I say this, but Klaus and Jesper is the main character's name. Or they're outside the window. They're watching him unwrap the gift and playing with like a little frog kind of thing, frog toy, and it's just like the happiness in both of them to see that like how much they spark joy in this one one person. I think it's very good.
All right, my friends. So, out of 10, what do we got?
I'm gonna have to give it an 8 because
wow,
yeah, like it may have like the whole like a clear arc, you understand where the story's going, but all the deconstruction, the animation I forgot to mention was very interesting. I very much liked it. I think all of that kind of helps boost up the movie, and it's very interesting because like a lot of people like they talk negatively about Netflix exclusives, but I think that they really nailed it with this one. And it's really hard to also make a Christmas movie nowadays anyway because everything's been done before.
Yes.
So having a deconstruction felt fresh, and I definitely recommend it. I think of all ages, the comedy might not be there for you because it is for like a more younger audience, but like I still think it's really well done.
So listeners, this holiday season, don't watch Christmas Story or Christmas Story. Watch Klaus instead.
Yes, that's my message. Even you're on this too?
Actually, you know what? After listening to you talk about this, I'm super hyped to go watch this movie. It sounds amazing.
Yeah, I really would really like
It's
to
hard
hear
to
your
make
thoughts.
a good Christmas movie.
Nowadays, yeah,
Because there's so many of them, and there's just it's
Yeah.
overdone.
I think Hallmark kind of ruined that because like Hallmark every year has a new Christmas movie,
And
and
they're
like
all the same.
yeah, I think
Just like Christmas music.
yeah, like just like Christmas music, there's no good new Christmas music.
There's no way to make it new.
No, there isn't because everything's been done. I've heard so many like Christmas is a great time of year. Christmas is about family. Christmas is about Jesus. Like everything.
Christmas isn't about money, even though it is. It's not about consumerism, even though it is.
Yeah, like it's.
We've heard it. We've done it.
We've done it. Yeah. So I think you know what we're gonna call it at that point. I think to be a bit shorter, but that's fine. Christmas is coming up.
Let us know in the comments. Let us know what are some of your favorite Christmas classic movies and why. What do you think breaks the mold? What do you think stands out? We're really curious, actually.
Please tell me why I'm wrong on A Christmas Story. I would like to be proven wrong by somebody. I don't think I will. I'd like to hear another defense of this movie because maybe I'm not seeing it. So I need someone to help me here.
Alrighty, guys. Thank you so much for listening. I am Carlos, the Optimist. You can follow me on Twitter at The Brown Nerd, on Instagram at Notorious2099, and you can follow Ryan on his YouTube channel, Glass Half Empty.
And I'm the pessimist. And as you can tell, yeah.
Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays.
Well, we were probably going to see you before Christmas, so maybe a little bit early. Did you say Halloween?
I said, are we?
I think so, but we'll find out, won't we? Okay, bye, guys.
Bye.